Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview, and today we're taking a look at the Demi-Brigade SAS, which is a very cool division thematically and historically, because thematically you're using French partisans, British airborne, and then American armoured units, all rolled up into one, well, I'd say division, but technically it really is a brigade, a Demi-Brigade at Yat. But also historically, because you got the French, you got the British, you got the Americans all bloody working together in, one combined operation. It's really cool historically. I mean, it's how Normandy lands and actually worked. Everyone bloody worked together, came up to fight the Nazis. And it's just bloody cool. And this division really showcases the phase systems really well with the Steel Division game in total, as you're jumping from playstyle to playstyle through each phase, which is a really good, indicator of how the phase system actually works. But nonetheless, let's actually see how these guys work and build in game. So economy wise, you got 80 points in A phase, 90 points in B, and 115 C. So pretty good early on, pretty poor mid, but a very high C phase economy. This is a lot of points. You are technically an airborne division, but it's kind of risk-rossy, to be honest. You have 38 activation points, and in terms of slots, you've got lots of airplanes, lots of infantry, recon, and tanks, and everything else is pretty normal. You do lackluster a bit in the artillery tab. So let us make our way through the recon tab. So A phase, you've got a choice between French saboteurs and the Marquis. I think that's Marquis. I don't speak bloody French. The Saboteurs are a 6-man recon squad with good CQC capabilities, yet carry a satchel charge. Now, you do want to note of their car, the traction, as this is the fastest car in the rest, going 135 kilometers an hour on road, which is pretty much a race car driver in this. This is really important because at the start of a match, in a conquest match, you can get to the front line much faster than the enemy can, the Germans can, giving you like a 10 to 20 second just head start advantage to maneuver around into a good spot, to get into a good ambush position. You use these guys like actual, resistance fighters. And they're very good at doing that resistance fighter as well, because they do actually have stealth. And a pretty small squad, yeah, the light cargo space squad, meaning you can sneak up to 100 meters of an enemy inside of a forest if they don't have recon optics, I believe, and throw off that satchel charge before they can even see you. So you can really get some good ambush scenarios with the saboteurs. They do require a bit of micro, but for 15 points, a possible, ambushing and devastating like a Panzer Grenadier squad, yeah, it's pretty good. They're just a little bit tough to use. You only got the Marquis, which are essentially a Stormtrooper squad, as they have 6 submachine guns, but yeah, and 6 guys with bolt action rifles decided to come in for fun as well. They're pretty decent CQ3 squad. The main thing is high HP. With 12 guys in the squad, they're very durable, and they're pretty good at close quarters. These guys can survive a Pioneer grenade throw, and they're going to be able to shoot back, obviously, because they'll probably be stunned, but they can run away and fight another day. Yeah, they're a very good unit to use. Just once again, you do have to do a bit of micro, so you can get in close and use the submachine guns. So you're not going to be doing too much damage with the bolt action rifles. And you got a sidecar, motorcycle thing, pretty crap, never take these. And you got the Panhard. You see it in German divisions under a different name, but this is the actual name. It was a Panhard 178, which was a French reconnaissance car before they kind of got invaded by the Germans. It usually gets underlooked, I'd say a bit, but it's a fantastic unit. As yes, it doesn't have any HE ammo, but this is a light vehicle killer. With 5 AP, which is enough to do with light vehicles, you've got 17 rounds a minute and a lot of ammunition, meaning that you can just chuck shot after shot after shot towards any half-track or lightly armoured tank you're going to be facing. And considering that, a lot of German tank divisions usually have very light armour in A phase, and a lot of German divisions in total, it's a great A phase unit with dealing with light armor threat, because you're mainly just fighting half tracks and recon cars in A phase against the Germans. B phase to return into the SAS part of the division. You got SAS Scouts, which are terrible. Just don't take them. They have a very bad weapon load. Yes, they got smoke, and that's, their recon squad are not meant to be fighting, but considering even the A phase units, which don't have the veterancy, are much better at fighting compared to these SAS Scouts. You only got the SAS Sniper, which is a one-man sniper squad. They ditch the extra guy, of course, but instead of having a submachine gun for the extra guy, he instead has a smoke grenade. This is a pretty tough unit to use because it dies so quickly. Just losing that one guy means that you lost half your HP, essentially, with your sniper squad. So you're going to be very cautious with this and make sure he doesn't get shot at all. Which is honestly pretty hard for sniper squads in this game, because regular machine guns, whether it's on a vehicle or an actual static, like tripod nonsense, has more range in your SAS sniper. So, usually with snipers, you want to keep them on the move, but with this guy, that is 100% the case. So he has more sniper ammo compared to a two-man sniper squad, surprisingly. Two-man sniper squads only have 30 shots, while this guy has 50, which is surprising. Then we get the C phase, which is the American arm of this division, and you just got M8 Greyhound, which is pretty standard. Infantry tab is cool. There's a lot of different options. You got these 3 French leader units. These are just crap. I mean, they're not terrible weaponry rise. I mean, they got a machine gun, which is okay-ish. But because it's a leader unit without veterancy, which is another unit later on has the same issue, it's just worthless. Because you have no veterancy on the leader unit, the command aura is so small, it's just not worthwhile. So it's much better to get the Jadbergs. Yes, you get one less, but you're pretty much getting more command aura square meter radius per unit, per point, as you have the 2-star veterancy, so you can cover a much larger area with the Jadberg. And these are a pretty decent unit as well. They got Thompsons, so they're good at CQC, AT grenades if, vehicles get close, satchel charges, as well as smoke. So a very good supporting unit. Then you got the rallies. You got rallies in regular tracks, and then down here you got rallies in German half-tracks, which is the only time you're going to see German half-tracks in the Allied division, though. It's just that has a lot of German units within it. The rallies are pretty much a grenadier squad with a few extra twists. The main one being they have a PPSH compared to an MP40, and PPSH is better than the MP40 statistically, so in a run against a grenadier at close range, you will win, because that PPSH just has the slight edge. And then you got the Faust Patron. You only have 2 shots with it, and the Faust Patron isn't as good as the Panzerfaust. It has slightly less pen, I believe. But considering an A phase, you're mainly just fighting, Panzer 4s, Panzer 3s, like 8 armor units. That's not really that big of a deal. Very good. These are very good units as well. They got the veterancy, they can hold their own, and they still got the German machine gun, the MG34, so they can hold their ground rather well against more regular German infantry units. Of course you can lose against Panzer Grenadiers, but really every infantry unit is in the open, apart from a few loses to Panzer Grenadiers. Got more of these guys in 250, it's not even worth it with the half-track. You also got access to MG34s and Hotkisses, which are alright, they're decent machine guns, and like I said, the rallies with the half-tracks. B phase is the SAS portion, where we have ourselves SAS Group FM. These are pretty much the Noah's Ark of infantry, with 2 Sten guns, 2 M1 carbines, brands, and smoke. They're pretty alright for 15 points. You just gotta view them as they're pretty much like an airborne Bren group, essentially. I should really say 15 Scots Bren group, as the 6 airborne Bren group is a bit different. But they're good. For 15 point spam unit, you can just throw these guys around everywhere. You got a lot of activation points per card. I mean, you only get 1 card, but 8 of them is pretty bloody good. And you just kind of spam around. Make sure to use smoke, and that's really with all of these infantry units as well. You got the SAS commands, which are also pretty good. They have Piat, which is going to be rather important, as you're going to want some AT weaponry. And then you got Chasseurs, which are more of your regular infantry squad. They only have CQC weaponry, the carbines and the Sten guns. They're really deadly in CQC, as you can tell. And all these units are really deadly in CQC. Even these group FMs. I'd honestly use these as CQC guys instead of long-range machine gunners. And you have to be very good with your micro to be able to get close to take advantage of all the SMGs. But fortunately, all three of these guys have smoke grenades, and you're gonna be wanting to throw smoke everywhere. And that's how you use these SAS troops. And in C-Phase, the American portion, you get armored rifles. You get a lot of cards worth, but you'd only ever need 1 card of armored rifles. And, yeah, armored rifles. They're pretty good. They're not as good in terms of infantry fighting compared to the previous units, but they got bazookas, which bazookas are great. Tanks. So tanks is all over the place. We got ourselves Hotchkiss 35s and Hotchkiss 39s, which are both decentish light tanks, so you can just spam around. You got Panzer IIIs, which are gonna be alright against German units. Usually a Panzer III is not really that great because you're fighting allied units, usually Shermans and Cromwells in A phase. But because you're using a Panzer III against like Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, this is actually pretty good, as a lot of the German units in A phase, the armoured rise, has light armour. So yes, it only has an ATP gun, but that's going to be enough to deal with majority of light armour you're going to be fighting against in A phase against the Germans. So it's honestly isn't that bad of a unit in A phase. You got a CRB-1, which is a great infantry support tank, and then a Panzer IV. This isn't a second Panzer Division Panzer IV by any stretch. It doesn't have the veterancy, but it's a Panzer IV in A phase. And same thing, like I said before, a lot of the German armor has low armor in A phase, armor value. So this is just going to go through everything like a hot knife through butter. And it's still a good B phase, C phase unit because it's a proper medium tank in A phase that you can get. And I really do love just the markings on all of these tanks. It's really quite great. You see that the French had a little bit of fun and making sure to mark their tanks so they don't get shot out by friendlies. You have no tanks in B phase, so that's kind of the downside. But in C phase, you get Americans. You got M3A1 Shermans, A3 Shermans, and then long-barreled Shermans. Pretty much a Sherman of every variety. All of these are good Shermans. Support is not great for this division. There's not really much here. You got the Kubel MG, which is meh. It's not really worthwhile, as you already have such good armored units that have machine guns, and this thing just dies so quickly. It doesn't have veterancy. It's just not worth it. Same with these traction command cards. Yes, it's fast and it can get around, but once again, no veterancy, so the Commandor is absolutely abysmal. And it's an unarmed vehicle, so it just dies extremely quickly. But it does have a cool paint job, I'd have to say. You got A-phase logistic trucks. These are pretty much the same as your regular trucks, like Opel Blitzes or whatever the British and or GMCs, I should say. Same capacity and whatnot. Pretty good, considering you get 2 in A-phase. So you don't get any supply trucks in B, and you have to wait till C-phase to get the American GMCs. Down B phase, you got the SAS Jeep, which is a crazy unit, because if you do the math, I mean Trove plus Trove, that's 24 HE damage on a bloody Jeep. This thing will tear to shreds, I say, any unarmored unit that you catch out in the open. It will just destroy. The downside is it is unarmored itself, and in B phase, the Germans are just going to have half-tracks and tanks and anything with machine guns all over the place, so it's a very risky unit to use. You definitely have to use hit-and-run tactics with this, but when you do manage to get a firing line on any unarmored unit, whether it's AT gun or infantry, they just die instantly. This is such a fun unit to use when used efficiently. Anti-tank, So you got you got the Free French Partisans, which are pretty much just a two-man Panzerfaust squad. Yes, it's nothing crazy, but they're only 10 points. You can spread these guys around. You got Pack 38. Pack 38's, of course, still pretty mediocre. They're no 6-pounder. But once again, you're using these against German units. German units earlier on have less armor. So that 10 AP value is pretty decent. These are good AT guns. And they work around to B phase as well, because you're fighting Panzer IVs and Stugs. I mean, of course, heavy armor you're going to have a bad time against, but it's pretty decent. You only got 2 Pack 40s in A phase, which is pretty damn good. Pack 40s are great. Once again, the AP value advantage of German units really helps you a lot when fighting against German units, because they're so unarmored, and I'm gonna keep bloody repeating it, because this just makes these German units so good. And then the Jagdpanzer IV in A phase. This may as well just be a Tiger tank in A phase. If at reasonable distances, you are completely impenetrable to everything apart from, like, you know, the odd Pack 43 or Firefly in A phase versus the Germans. This is such a good unit, and what makes this unit, it really helps the division a lot, as in an open ground area, you usually shouldn't have a good time. You only got like Panzer IVs and whatnot. This completely changes that dynamic, as you can just hold an open ground area extremely easily, and heck, even push in an open ground with the help of this Jagdpanzer. It works really well into B phase, and by God you're gonna need it, because you don't really get much in B phase at all for this division. This is such a good unit. It's a must-have. It's fantastic. It's pretty much an A phase heavy tank. B phase got SAS Piat. Yeah, they're not really worthwhile, I'd say. I mean, they only get the one Piat. It's not the Commando Brigade where you get like 2 Piats for a guy, but yeah, they're not really worthwhile. Don't take it. C phase, you got saved by Americans. You got 6-pounders, you got 76 mils, and then you got M10 tank destroyers. Pretty much just the standard, you know, American AT weaponry. Anti-air is pretty abysmal. You got these Hotchkiss on the back of a truck. Has a cool paint job, but it's pretty underwhelming weaponry rise. So don't even bother with this, to be honest. Do bother with these 25mm cannons, as they're pretty much a budget Bofors. I believe they have less AP to AP HE. Only have 8 HE compared to 10 regular Bofors has, I believe. But it's like half the price pretty much, and it still has the same range. I believe it shoots a little bit slower or faster, one or the other. It's a really good AA unit. You want them, as you can just spread these guys over, and for 45 points for a 1 kilometer AA unit is fantastic. In C phase, you got M16s and M15s, pretty standard American armor stuff. Artillery is pretty limited in terms of slots. You do have some good options. A phase, you got these 2-inch mortars, which are good close-range infantry support mortars. The downside is, though, it's only a 2-man squad, so they die very quickly, but they're cheap, you get a lot per card, still not a bad choice. B phase, you got 3-inch mortars, 1 inch more, but double the guys. The standard mortar squad, essentially. But they do have 2-star veterancy, so these guys shoot extremely bloody fast. You only got the cheap FAO, which drops in 381mm naval off-map artillery, which is pretty big booms. This thing blows up absolutely everything with the naval off-map. It's a very powerful off-map artillery piece, and it's pretty important in B phase, as you're going to have to use this to try and coast off your low income and low unit count to just try to keep the Germans at bay. C phase, you get options to American mortar half-tracks and American M7 Priest. Now, airplane tab of this division is pretty much the only aspect that doesn't really follow the whole partisan to SAS to American armor thing, as it's just kind of a hodgepodge, to be honest. But still, really good. The airplane tab of this is one of the best, to be honest. So you got the Restland Lysander, which is a recon plane with a catch. It can actually drop bombs. The bombs are pretty abysmal, as you can tell. But considering A phase, the Germans usually don't have that much AA on the field. this guy can fly around, spot stuff, and then bomb him. You're not going to kill stuff with the bombs, you just got to realise that. But you can stun them up. If you're getting shot at by an AT gun or want it knocked out for a little bit so you can make an armoured push with one of your many tanks available, it can drop it on said pack 38, pack 40, and then you can move up. And it can still spot everything. This is definitely a worthwhile unit. And definitely it's very fun just to use to see his stinky little, I don't want to say biplane, but it's a stinky little recon plane. Just fly around, dropping little, well, essentially hand grenades, so it's a bit heavy in hand grenades on German positions. Then you got Spitfire Mark 9s, which are pretty much regular Spitfire fighter bomber. They have a pretty pathetic bomb loadout, but they're pretty damn cheap at 140 points. So even though the bomb loadout's pretty bad, you can still use these guys to just strafe ground targets. You get a lot of them, and they're definitely affordable. You can get one every 2 minutes in A and B phase, which is pretty bloody good. You got Tempest in A and B phase. Tempest, without a doubt, one of the best fighter planes in-game, and yeah, this thing will absolutely destroy any German plane that you fight against, usually. You also get A phase and B phase P-47 fund boats. They don't have AT rockets, they are medium rockets, but it is still a very good unit and very important unit to stun up Tigers and Panthers and other German heavy armor, especially in the later stages of the game where you're going to need to stun them up so your Wolverines and 76mm Shermans can come in and finish them off. So definitely a must-have unit. And then you got some Mosquito heavy fighter bombers later on, which are good, just carpet bomb an area to stop any pushes. You don't get a lot of airplane options, but really it's all you really need. You have a lot of veterancy, and you got Tempests, and Tempests are just fantastic. So let's take a look at a division and I built earlier. Once again, the deck code is in the description below, and yeah. So this is my SAS deck. Honestly, I'd say this is pretty standard. You could use this in team games or 1v1. There's not really too much variety I'd say you could do with an SAS deck. There's a lot of must-have units you need. So, and it's not like too much variety. Yeah, it's just not much variety, to be honest. So A phase, we got 1 Saboteurs and 2 Maquis, which, you know, pretty standard recon stuff. And then the Panhards, and then the SAS Sniper. So, a pretty nice healthy loadout. The Maquis are good as regular infantry units to throw inside of town, as they can hold their own because of their high HP, and I like using them as such. Infantry, I'm going to say without a doubt, it's the best infantry loadout you can possibly do for SAS, and really every SAS deck should have this infantry loadout. You got the Jedburghs and all the rallies in A phase, as once I said before, the veterancy makes these guys much better. Command units and rallies are pretty solid. B phase will take all the SAS troops, as they're all really good. You just have to micro-ammo the smoke so you can get in close with the submachine guns. And in the C phase, use the armoured rifles just to help buff up your lines. They got half tracks, which is nice. The bazookas help out, and you don't need more than 9 armoured rifles. Like, you're just not going to be able to afford enough, even as a high income, to, you know, reasonably use more than 9 armoured rifles. We're not going to use machine gun teams, as honestly I don't think machine gun teams are that great, to be honest. I mean, you already got 2 5-1 half tracks, which kind of negate machine gun team usage, to be honest. You already got like vehicles and etc. So you can still have that infantry fire support. And the rallies, they don't really need too much infantry fire support, as they already have the MG34s. The tank tab, we're taking Hotchkiss 35 for cheap spam tank, the B1 and the Panzer IV, which is pretty standard tank loadout, I'd have to say. Panzer III is also a pretty decent choice, but I prefer taking the Char B1, to be honest, as if you're fighting against more German infantry focused deck, it doesn't have armor in A phase, take the Char B1 as your tank of choice. But if you are fighting against a more German A phase Panzer division, it has some tanks that you have to worry about, take the Panzer IV. I mean, you want to have both cards in these deck, but it's the nice thing about having both is you can quickly use which one you need for what division you are fighting against. And honestly, the Panzer IV is a no-brainer. no matter the cost, no matter the situation. Then C phase will take one of pretty much every American tank. It's more than enough, to be honest. You do not need more than this. Support tab, we just take logistics track. Honestly, you only need Yay phase logistics tracks. You're not going to be artillery spamming the hell and back of this division. And all you just need to do is keep your few anti-aircraft units and your infantry units and tank units supplied, which is pretty cheap on a logistical standpoint. And then the SAS Jeep, because they can be tricky to use and they are very circumstantial, but like I said before, they will just make enemy units disappear if you manage to catch them with their pants down. Anti-tank tab, partisans for extra AT weaponry early on, Pack 38 and Pack 40 for AT guns, the Jagdpanzer of course, because it's bloody Jagdpanzer, and then the M10. I prefer the M10 over the 76mm, as it's a mobile anti-tank gun. Yes, you can't hide it, but I think mobility is a much more important factor rather than stealth. As with mobility, you're eventually going to get spotted with an AT gun, that's just a matter of fact. Mobility allows you to easily maneuver around, while yes, you have the half track and you can maneuver around this thing. Just the M10 is a better choice, I'd have to say. Anti-air, retake the 25mm of course, and then retake the M15s later on for American anti-air. It's not a lot of anti-aircraft units, but it's just enough to get you by. And you already have such a good air loadout, yeah, it's not a big deal having a low amount of AA units. It's just enough. Artillery, 2-inch mortars and A phases. You do want some sort of artillery early on, and these are pretty good. That's just, your basic light mortar needs. We're taking the Jeep off map because we want something to keep the Germans at bay. You don't have to resupply it, which is great. And who doesn't love seeing 381mm naval shells come down on top of German tanks? And C phase, you're probably going to find this rather weird, so I prefer the mortar half track over the M7 Priest. But honestly, I honestly think this is a much better choice, as mortar half tracks are a bit more versatile, as you can keep them close to the front line. They shoot. You can usually pick off more targets with the mortar half track as it shoots faster, and because it's closer to the front line, you have less travel time. And also, you can buy one per minute and still have 50 points left over in C phase. While with the M7 Priest, that's not entirely the case. And I just think that's a much better alternative, because when C phase hits, you're not really gonna have any artillery units on standby. Usually, you're starting from scratch, so you might as well just get the cheaper, mortar half tracks on in rather than M7 Priest. In airplanes, Lysander, of course, because it's an awesome little recon plane. Taking both cards of Spitfires, these are very important units to keep you alive through A and B phase, as they will bomb everything and they can strafe everything, and will still being a decent-ish fighter, and they're very affordable in A and B phase, which is rather important. Trying to keep that air power advantage is definitely the one thing you can do during B phase to keep you in the game. So I honestly think taking both is a good idea. We also take both Tempest, run in A and run in B phase, which is more on our fighter coverage. This is you're doing really good with fighters in this division, really good. We're taking the Thunderbolts to deal with Panthers and Tigers, and then the Mosquito to just carpet bomb entire columns. So, overall, the pros of this deck: you have total air supremacy. You have such a good air loadout. Yes, it's not crazy numbers or a lot of different variety, but you have all the veterans. So you do Tempests. You're going to be ruling the skies with these guys. Yeah, that's for sure. You have Yefei's Jagdpanzer, which is an absolute powerhouse within itself. And, you kind of get saved by the Americans in C phase. Your C phase is really strong, as you are an American armor division. You got all the tanks you need, all the artillery, all the support units. It's really great, this C phase of this division. It's a much better C phase compared to Commando Brigade, and there's a lot of similarities between this and Commando Brigade. But I'd say this is a better division overall compared to Commando, as your C phase is much more lucrative compared to the Commando C phase. The cons of this division, Your infantry require good micro. The saboteurs, the SAS groups, the partisans, all require you being able to get in close with the enemy, using smoke to your advantage. And yeah, you just have to know how to use smoke and cover to get in close to just tear the enemy to shreds, as a lot of your A phase infantry and B phase infantry require CQC 100-meter combat to really get the kills. And the main one, of course, is your B phase. Your B phase is pretty terrible. You have to keep your A phase tanks alive. It's very important to keep that bloody Jagdpanzer alive as long as possible, the Panzer IV, and just using what you have and keeping the air power up and running to just crawl through B phase. As you have a very good A phase for this, and it's a very powerful A phase. You can really hit it out the park early on. And your C phase is also really good. But your B phase, if you lose too much territory or just lose complete momentum of the match, even with all the tanks, all the American armor and cavalry you're going to get in C phase, you can just completely botch the match at that point and just not be able to make a recovery. I've seen it happen quite a few times where the player just loses so much ground in B phase and so many units. Yes, they get so many points, but they pretty much have to start entirely from scratch with the units composition on the map. By that time, they manage to save up and build up a force to do the counter-attack and try to get some points back. The match is already over. So, apart from that, let's see how these guys actually perform in a match. And we are back. This is St. Magali's Duelist, and we have ourselves Walther playing as the SAS Demi-Brigade, and Herr Robert as the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier. Taking a look at Walther's deck, there's not really too much variety or differences compared to the deck that I built. Like I said before, you can't really mix it up too much with Demi-Brigade. They have a very set deck loadout that you want to try and stick with. There's a few differences like the Commander card, the A-Phase P-47 Thunderbolt, more Saboteurs, but apart from that, it's very similar. But the deck code will be in the description below as per usual. So this map, St. Magali's Duelist, is pretty good for the Demi-Brigade, and my Xbox controller died. Let's turn it back on. And, oh look, the map's turning. That's not meant to happen. Please turn on Xbox. There we go. No, it's not. But nonetheless, while I try to get this working, it's a pretty good map for Demi-Brigade. As you got the town in the middle, which is good for your Saboteurs, your Maquis, your SAS troops later on. The controller's now working finally. But on the flanks too, you can hold the flanks pretty well. Over here, you plop a Jagdpanzer, which is what Walter's going to do. This is complete, lovely Jagdpanzer territory. And on the left-hand side, you can stick like a Panzer IV here, you know, some decent AT guns. You have pretty good open ground options with Demi-Brigade. Just, it's important to keep your open ground options alive, as even though you have units in A phase, you have to keep them alive into B phase, and we're going to see how Walther, you know, fares in B phase with this match. So this is going to be starting anytime soon, and off we go. Looking at his deployment, yeah, he's going pretty heavy in the town, on the flanks of it too. And even on the flank here, he's going to be rushing up. And it seems pretty ballsy to rush up, but he's got the traction cars. These guys are going to make it much faster to the front lines compared to Herr Robert. I mean, these stream wagons only go 83 kilometers an hour. So he has a 50 kilometer an hour advantage over his opponent, which is going to give him like, what, 10, maybe 20 seconds to set up into position. And as you see, these guys are just so bloody fast. But Herr Robert does have an Abraham, which is a good play from him, and that's just going to devastate the town, and he's already aiming to fly onto it. So he's going to get there first, but it's going to be not the best, as you'll lose his one unit. But see, the Partisan's already a good ambush position to ambush his Abraham as it gets in close, but he just doesn't have line of sight. Just a little bit out of range, unfortunately. But see, these Saboteurs over here, they're going to get into this building right before the Germans do. And they're getting some rallies over here as well. And Walter's just going to not move in immediately. I think he's just worried about the Neighborwerfers. I was actually an IG-18 and not a Neighborwerfer earlier, that's my bad. But on the right hand side, this is going to go really well. He's got the Jagdpanzer and there's no real AT to stop him. He's got infantry screening in front. the rallies are good open ground units to push in open ground areas. So, like I said before, Demi-Brigade has really good play early on in the open ground. Especially against 17th, as that one, the Jagdpanzer is impenetrable. I mean, it's going to take a... it's pretty much going to take a Pack 43 at max range to penetrate it. Or, you know, getting a Stug 4 or Stug 3 to try and side shot it. But Neighbour's getting some good fallback hits, yeah. But the 2-5 run is going to be moving up. And it's going to move up a little bit too ballsy into the Stormtroop, which is a bit unfortunate. You kind of want to keep your 2-5 runs alive with this division. With German Panzer divisions, you can't afford to throw them away with German Panzer divisions, to be honest. But considering you only get 3 maximum of those 2-5 runs, you want to be a bit more precious with them. But it's a pretty passive early game from Walther, but he does have, you know, the map advantage. I mean, he does have his open side, just purely because of the Jagdpanzer. And he's got Stug coming out, but Stug's, even though Stug has veterancy, just statistically he's going to lose out against that Jagdpanzer. The Jagdpanzer has range, you know, all of that good stuff. You know, rally's going to be engaged on the Panzer Grenadiers. Not going to be great. Panzer Grenadiers do out machine gun the rallies, so the rallies do have the veterancy advantage, or it's not going to help out too much. It's really going to come down to CQC fighting, using no Maquis and saboteurs to fight the PC Grens. Now we got Neighbor Alpha Strike on the Jagdpanzer. Yo, it is just completely missed it. I think he did that to try and stun it up so his Stug can come in, but as you see, the Jagdpanzer is going to get first shot. Or almost got first shot, but losing line of sight, yeah. Even getting a Hotchkiss 35, and goddamn Xbox controller, please stop dying. But he's just holding his ground, you know, getting the plus run. I understand why he's not pushing too hard into the town, because you kind of want to wait till B phase for all the SAS troops. Yes, you got the Marquis as extra, but the SAS troops are just better in CQC because of the veterancy advantage that they boast. Yeah, the French guys are still pretty good, but especially again, 17th, which does have the SS Stormtroops, which are pretty powerhousey in CQC, and also Pioneers later on. You kind of want to wait till we had B phase infantry to come into play. And he's moving up the Jagdpanzers, using the recon in front, and the Stormtroops dropping the smoke, and that's going to completely reveal their position. It's like, oh, I wonder who dropped that smoke, and now Walther's going to hunt down the Stormtroop, and yeah. And he's keeping his Jagdpanzer, you know, he's got guys all around it, and he's penetrating pretty hard. He's gonna almost cut off the supply line to this town, it seems. As you can see, he's already, yeah, you can pretty much shoot units coming in. We've got an off-map artillery piece being called in from her Robert. But you see, it's Jagdpanzer. It's such a powerhouse unit, as you can tell. You can if you micro it properly and keep it alive, you can just make big pushes like this early on. He does have to worry a little bit about his 2-2-1 on his flank. He's probably gonna see it before. Yeah, he probably is gonna find out as this blob of the map is kind of giving away his position, and it's a little bit too far to just poke around the corner and back shoot this or arse shoot this Jagdpanzer. But yeah, just really good push here from Walther, really taking advantage. And yes, on the Maquis have pretty good territory. It's kind of a blessing and a curse that they don't project front line, because you can hide them like the saboteurs and get in close, because they are a stealthy unit, so you can get in close and ambush guys at 100 meters in the forest without them seeing you initially. But if these were rallies, for example, this would be a good chunk of map control that he would have. Now the Hotchkiss does go down, but heck, it's just a Hotchkiss. I just want to see his line of sight, because yeah, he has pretty good LRS here. He's got all the recon units all over the bloody place, and that's kind of just how you play your Demi-Brigade, because he's going to be using your recon units as pretty much regular infantry, and it's a lot. You know, yeah, his rally is going to have a pretty easy time. His 221 has no infantry capabilities, and all clear is not going to fare too well in CQC. It's going to be firing the faster round. First shot misses. Fortunately, they do have a second. I think he can just run and get surrounded. That 221 is pretty much cornered. And the Yank Panda keeps getting panned on Neighborhood, which is a good play from her, Robert. It's just trying to keep him back. But it's still, yeah, it's still projecting front line and really holding his whole flank together. It has been pushed back a bit, so it isn't just shutting down his road anymore. I'm really quite surprised her Robert hasn't got like a Pack 40 out. He is trying to maneuver some Panda strikes around, but I don't think it's going to work too well. Finally seen some engagements inside of town, or rallies, Maquis, fighting up against Panda Grenadiers. It's not going too bad, to be honest. I mean, Panda Grenadiers, you know, they do have the better weaponry loadout at long range. And really, too bad he can't get his Maquis closer to get into his fight. He's bringing a Char B1, which is definitely going to help out. Great infantry support tank. But just overall, very good A phase so far from Walther. This Char B1's going to have a real fun time. There's no actual AT here. Still a bit ballsy getting it in this close. Because this sort of unit is one of units you don't want to lose till C phase at least. Or because, you know, you don't really have many tanks or much going for you in B phase. Because they could be stormtroops around. Right? I mean, he doesn't... Fortunately, there isn't. But they could be hidden bloody anywhere. I do have the off-map coming in onto his fighting force here. And the Panda Strike getting a good kill on a 2-5 run. And her Robert's going to be pushing back the push, mainly just by keeping the Yanked Panda stunned. And the infantry here, a little bit, guess the IG-18, which is good. But loses his recon guys. He still has the Yanked Panda still alive, so... Walther still has that going for him. He does have the Spitfire bombers. Probably going to see these guys keep coming out throughout A and B phases. They're very good planes to have. You know, her Robert already has AA out. And we've got neighbor Earthers in the town, and that's the off-map as well. That's the off-map going. But Char B1's just having a good time, as you can see, just stunning up everything. Yeah, too bad his infantry units are all falling back. And yes, he's lost a bit of ground, so he still has units here. Once again, they're all recon units, and the partisans, they don't project frontline. If he had rallies here, he would have his territory under his control. But he still has the right hand side, so he's still slowly getting a +1 point advantage. In fact, he's at 55% map control, which is really good. He's getting his Panzer IV now, so it's pretty much all of his good tanks gone until C phase. So we're going to see if he can keep them alive or not throughout the next 10 minutes, because once again, B phase is a make it or break it for Demi-Brigade. If this goes tits up, if he completely loses the town and her Robert starts pushing over here, that's going to be pretty hard to come back from for Walther if he loses the tanks, etc. So this is a single string moment for Demi-Brigade. I mean, the Panda Strike almost knocking out the Char B1, but fortunately it doesn't get the kill shot. I mean, if the Panda Strike wanted to get a kill shot, they should have been shooting the Panda Strike They should have been shooting the Panda Strike sideways. The Maquis getting pinned down. But B phase, this is really quite a powerhouse for Walther, as he has all the bloody all the SAS troops, which are now being brought out. And the SAS troops are just cheap as chips. 15 points, 25 points for 2-star CQC, you know, killers is really bloody good. Really bloody good. And they have smoke, and it's just if you can just smoke the entire town and all the alleys and roads, you can just get in real close and just destroy everything. Her Robert is bringing in pioneers himself. But the thing is, Walther does have the veterancy advantage in this entire situation. Now, God damn it, please unload. He's getting a little bit too ballsy here. And there he goes, just unloads right into the building of the pioneers, and as you can see, completely decimated. Completely decimated. Pioneers in the church town, they're gone. And look, the Stug's getting in close, but he's going to pop smoke, and he's going to charge into this building and try to get the AT grenade off on the Stug. And this is what I mean about SAS troops. If you just micro them effectively and get them in close, you can do pretty cool stuff like that. The first AT grenade misses, and is he going to get the second one off? No, he's going to use smoke again to block line of sight, jump out the building so he can get that reload. He hasn't killed the Stug yet. And you see he keeps microing him in and out, so the Stug keeps losing line of sight, so he doesn't actually get a shot off. And he uses the third run, but doesn't get a kill, unfortunately. Which is a bit of a shame. He really had that Stug dead to right, but the Stug will be living the Stug life. But good use of smoke. He's going to be fighting this Panzer Grenadier Führer. He just get pinned down and surrendered, unfortunately. But that was a good push, though, from Walther. That's how you use SAS troops to a T, right? Yeah. You just have to charge in and hope for the best. Kind of like the Mile High Club mission from COD 4. Yo, in COD 4 you have to bloody repeat that thing like 100 times on veteran difficulty because you keep dying to fucking MP5s. But nonetheless. Walther is still moving around. The smoke helping his Maquis to getting in close. And yeah, he still has his 3 big tanks alive. Yo, the Jagdpanzer is getting shot at by the Marder 3, and I mean he's gonna survive because the Marder 3 can't penetrate at range, but still a little bit disconcerting. I mean he could have potentially got side-shotted at 1 or 2 points when it was retreating. So yeah, he may want to get like a Pack 40 to try and support his Jagdpanzer now, and that's right. So it's good play from her, Robert, from containing that Jagdpanzer. If you can't kill it, you just stun it up to bits, and that's exactly how you deal with the Jagdpanzer fighting against Demi-Brigade. Town fight's going really well for Walther. He's pretty much got it completely under his control thanks to all his awesome CQC guys moving the Char B run as well. And does he have... Oh, he has a kill shot on the Opel Blitz. If he blows that up... No, he's not. No, he's not. And shooting at the neighbor Alpha 42, gonna pin it down at least. Gonna slow down its reload, forcing the Opel Blitz to fall back a bit. But neighbor Alpha getting some good hits, forcing a bit of a fallback here from the Char B run. I haven't seen much on the left hand side, but it's pretty much as Walther containing this choke point with just the bare amount of infantry. Not even any actual 18 or AT guns or anything, just SAS group FMs, and he's just spamming them like Bren groups. And these are, you know, still pretty good open ground troops. I mean, it's a 15.2 star Bren group, which is alright, but they're going to get in close, and up close is where they do a lot of damage. On a run and run against stormtroops, not going to work too well, but with the Alpha FM group supporting, maybe, just maybe, they can get a victory. You've got the P-47 rocket strike. Not getting a kill, yo. I don't believe so. And you see Jagdpanzer in a run and run at long range against the Marder 3. Jagdpanzer wins. And kaboom. And still just holding the open ground pretty much by itself. We do have an AT gun being brought in. I want to zoom in real fast, see if it's a Pack 40 or not, but let's see how the Spitfire bombing run's not working too well as these Flak 36s are on point. And the problem with Demi-Brigade, it's a Pack 40. The problem with Demi-Brigade is you don't really have long range artillery to pick off these AA units, so you can't. If you get into a situation like this, it's going to be hard to use your airplanes. And your airplanes are pretty important for Demi-Brigade. Your Walther, he's got a +2 point advantage as he has all this ground on the left hand side now. And he's doing really well in B phase. And the main thing, right, he did lose the Char B run in middle, but he still has the Jagdpanzer alive. He still has the Panzer IV alive, which are, you know, the two most important units to keep alive in B phase for this division. Because if you do lose them and your opponent has half a brain cell, they're going to realize, oh, my opponent no longer has any, sustainable armor units. for the next like 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna push really hard where my army units are gonna do great, and then you're finding, especially against like a German Panzer division, you're just gonna get blitzkrieged on one side, and you're not gonna be able to do too much unless you manage to set up a hasty AT gun rule. But if you lose your AT guns, which usually happens, it can be tough. But fortunately for Walther, he's doing a pretty good job. He's not going too aggressively now with his tanks. I mean, he's got the Panzer IV behind the building, the Panzer, and a pretty... I mean, he's getting Neighbor to death. I think he's going to eventually die to a Neighbor strike. But it's alive. And it being alive, just being is more important than going around and getting kills. You've got the Pak 40 engaging. May get a side shot if the Panzer falls back in a stupid ray. But look, P-47 Thunderbolt comes in. Thunder and light roll, just thunder, knocks out the Pak 40. You got 221 coming in, but Smoke really trying to block its line of sight. 221 could get the kill here, as there's no AT gun supporting the Panzer, and really, I'd kind of hope Walther at least got like a Pak 38 or Pak 40 here, just as a second line defense. But I guess you don't need it if you got a Spitfire bomber plane. It doesn't get the fullback on a 221, unfortunately, but it's definitely gonna reduce its accuracy. And the Panzer are going to be able to fire back. And they're both going to force each other to fall back. And there's Tempest coming in just to help out. Now, Walther just doing really well. Now on the left-hand side here, this is great. And this is all, extremely forestry CQC area on the far left. Which works well to Demi-Brigade's infantry. And the Panzer still alive, still being a pain in the ass. We've got Stag 4. It's going to be more of a tough customer for the Panzer to fight against, but the Panzer has armor advantage over Stag 4, so the Panzer wins. It's really like the scary thing with the Panzer is fighting against Panthers and Tigers, obviously in B phase, and using the Panzer in that situation is much harder. But fortunately against 17th SS, you don't have to worry about Panthers or Tigers, so this is a really easy unit to use through B phase, as there's not much AT that can really deal with you. And the town's still going a bit back and forth. The Pioneer's definitely going to be a pain in the ass to deal with, but we're in C phase now, and this is where the Americans come in. Okay, I guess just not yet, maybe in the 15 seconds or so. But he's got the point advantage, he's got all the units now, he's got the tanks, he's got bloody everything. And he's managed to keep his Panzer IV alive and the Panzer alive throughout the entirety of B phase, which is great, and he has good positions all over the place. Yes, he's a bit lackluster in AT, her Robert hasn't exactly took advantage of that. Fallen or disadvantage for Walther, if I can actually speak bloody English. But our Pioneers are definitely proven to be a bit of a pain in the middle, but there's so much machine gun fire and etc. keeping them back at least for now. Finally, we are seeing some American units, armored rifles, and a priest. We are seeing a bit of a furball here, but you don't get into an air fight with Demi-Brigade, especially if they got 2-star Tempests against a Focke-Wulf. You just do not win against that. He does have AA, which proved to be a bit tougher for I should say a bit tougher for Walther, but he just annihilated that Focke-Wulf with that Tempest. And that's what I mean about that Tempest being one of the best fighter planes in game. It's just so well-rounded with such a powerful arsenal, and especially with 2-star veterancy, as you see, it just makes stuff disappear in the sky. The Panzer IV trying to get out of sight, but not going to be the case. We've just got more Pioneers. This Pioneers found from her all into the town, and he's doing a really good job of neighbor offers, but it's just a little bit slow to counter push or take territory with after doing a neighbor offer strike. So hopefully his pioneers for him will do the trick. It seems like it's going to be the case. He's not going to catch up to the Panther 4, unfortunately. He does lose one pioneer squad to a Jedburgh, yeah. Or I think that's an SAS command unit, actually. And we got an op gun Sherman on left, which is going to prove to be a tough customer. As once again, he's fighting against 17th SS. The most heavily armoured unit is the Stag 4. So, I mean, this thing is just going to be an absolute powerhouse. Usually against more, like, German Panzer divisions, any Panzer division has, like, Panthers or Tigers, you require a bit more micro, as you don't have the best penetration chances against Tigers or Panthers compared to Fireflies that the British get. But against this division, you can be pretty lazy with these guys and just, you know, duke it out one-on-one against German tanks, as you're going to win. He's going to try and get some sort of angle on this Panzer 4, it seems. You've got Stag F8 here. And the town's completely fallen to Herr Robert's control to this pioneer span being a little bit too strong, and neighbour Arthur's as well on the right hand side going a bit tits up. He does lose the Jagdpanzer. But the main thing is, even though his sea phase isn't going too well for Walther, I mean, he lost territory, he can still fight back. He still has units on the playing field. He still has a bit of momentum going for him. And also he has so many bloody points. He can just coast through it. It's going to take Herr Robert like a +3 point advantage, +4 probably, to really take his back. And Walther doesn't seem like he's going to lose that much territory from now to the end of the match. So he's just got the Sherman coming. A little bit ballsy trying to hunt down that Panzer 4. But does get the... He's going to get the kill here, it seems. And as you see, as Sherman, like I said, you don't have to be as micro-heavy of this as you're just fighting against 17%. This is Panzer 4s and Stag 4s. It's already pretty powerhousey itself. He did activate the HE ammo, which is rather interesting. He just wanted to kill bloody armoured units. Mother Sherman on the right hand side. Just trying to set up a brick wall here. Yeah, he's got all of his 76mm Shermans out on the field. So he's got all the heavy hitters. Probably going to want some more infantry and maybe some recon to cover him. Tempest going in for the strafing run. And this has been a pretty good airplay from Walther. Yes, he hasn't managed to do anything too crazy with his airplanes, like keep him just flying around forever doing constant strafing runs, because Herr Roberts managed to get the AA up for him. But still, Walther's coming in, getting those important strikes, knock out the Pack 40 early onto the P-47, using the Tempest to keep the aeroplanes at bay. It's still good Demi-Brigade play. I think he's gonna... What's the Ju-87 here doing? Is he going to kill Sherman? Yes, he does. Tempest coming in, but the Ju-87's going to out-duke him. And also the AA helping him out a lot. And he's going in for gun run number 2 as he does like a spin, yeah. And it may be a good idea for Walther to maybe actually get an AA unit out. I mean, he hasn't got any of those 25mm AA guns, and definitely just getting 1 or 2. Heck, you can get 3 of them in 1 minute right now for him. Would be a good idea, I'd have to say. Does lose 1 Sherman to a Stag 4. Or is he going to return the favour? Maybe, maybe not. No, he's not. Ju-87 gets a kill. So he lost all his Sherman 76s, which is pretty bad. Though he still has 3 M10 Wolverines that he can fall back on. So he's not shit out of luck when it comes to anti-armor options, and Wolverines are pretty similar to the Sherman 76s, so it's not a big deal. And he did manage to bring it back to a 50-50 at least. And even though he's not doing like a complete armored breakthrough. You know, this isn't like the end of Kelly's Heroes where the Americans come into the bloody town and liberate the place. He's still holding territory, he still has momentum, you know, he still has units and stopping any crazy pushes from going on. That's all they need to do. Look at P-47 Thunderbolt run. Knocks out the mortar and run here. Those P-47 Thunderbolts are bloody good, especially the 2-star run, as Regis Shaw. Another P-47 going in. Well, I think that's the same run actually. I think that might have been the same run. He just did the hold fire trick. He only fired half his rockets, maybe. I'd have to double check. Yeah, I think that was just the same run. Because you only get one 2-star. But Spitfire's coming out. I think he's going to lose one to the Focke-Wulf, but yeah, that's not a big deal. And 2 Tempests coming in. Though the Akak is too strong. We've got a breakthrough here on the left for her, Robert. You know, it's only like 6 minutes left, so it's going to come a little bit too late. And you already got a AT gun being set up on the left. I think it's going to be an actual Pak-40. Nope, no, we're never going to know. Or I could actually zoom in and tell you. No, I can't because it disappears because it was attached to a truck. Because when a unit attached to a vehicle gets killed, the unit just disappears and dies with the vehicle, and you never actually see what it was. Well, Walther's just holding his ground. And it's a pretty good pushback here from her, Robert. He's managed to, you know, finally get the offensive momentum under his control using the neighbor Earthers to just completely smash Walther's lines. Walther has managed to get control of the town. And he just has all the armor units now outnumbering Walther's armored units. And also just good use of AA, just keeping Demi-Brigade from being too dominant in the skies. But still, this push is coming way too late. And the M10 over here, it's just got wrapped and jammed, unfortunately for him. But still, it's just going to be too late for her Robert to really take us back. Sherman's coming around to try and kill Stug. They're having a little bit of a tough time, yeah. But we're just getting to the twilight of this match. And in the end, Walther manages to hold on to the town. And that's going to be a good game. Walther taking the victory. Pretty close in terms of kills here at the end. Walther actually loses more. That's because he lost over a lot of his tanks later on into the match. But looking at history, yeah, he loses quite a lot early on in that A phase. Actually, the majority of A phase, surprisingly, is just Walther losing units. But still, even though he lost all those units, he still managed to keep a +1 point advantage throughout the entirety of A phase and all the way into B phase too. So that's pretty bloody good. And that's all because of the Jagdpanzer on the right hand flank, just projecting all that territory. Which again, to B phase, it's a bit more back and forth as he finally starts to attack now with his infantry inside the town. But still, you know, taking some trades here and there. And then C phase, you know, it's still pretty back and forth. Loses quite a bit in certain areas. But at the same time, you gotta realise, like, the saboteurs and all the infantry are really quite cheap. So you can't afford to lose them. In terms of kills, the Jagdpanzer, he didn't kill much with the Jagdpanzer. You know, it just stayed, yeah. It just held territory. It was a brick wall. That's all they needed to do. And so I mean, I keep going on about bloody Jagdpanzer, but it's such a good unit when you know how to use it efficiently. You just keep it, yeah. Just let it stare at the enemy from 1.2 kilometers away. You know, just being there menacingly. P-47 Thunderbolt getting some good kills. That was the 2-star run as well. Yeah, 76 Sherman doing pretty good. Yeah, apart from that, nothing really too standing out in terms of kills from her role, but Neighbor Earth is doing quite a bit of heavy lifting, and Stag F8 doing pretty bloody well as well, and Stag 4 here, and J87 knocking out pretty much a lot of the tanks, yeah, and the Stag 4 later on. So her Robert, he did do pretty good armor push later on, even though I'd say he was at a disadvantage armor-wise, as he didn't have the veterancy, or really like, he didn't have the veterancy compared to Walther's tanks, but he just played it really well with his armor. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up Demi-Brigade in total. Yeah, really fun division to play. I love playing Demi-Brigade. It's just all over the place. It's great. It's great thematically. You know, it's such a cool historically division. I'm really happy they added these guys in game, as they're just cool. It's fun. It's completely different from what every other division's whole like schematic is. And that was just very good SAS play from Walther. So it's been going on long enough, so I'm going to shut up and leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. And as usual, please just take it easy.